All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to your first flipped lesson in Algebra 2A. This is lesson 1.1. It's the real numbers and operations. We're going to take a look at a few things. Realize we are going to get a lot of practice time, so if there's anything here you didn't quite understand, put a question mark next to it so we can talk about it in class on the next day. We need to graph them on a number line, which is what the arrows are for, and then we're going to write our answers on this number line. So there's two parts to it. When we look at our numbers, 5, negative 2.3, negative 5.1, 0, and negative 2.1. We've got positive and negative, we've got decimals in there because we're dealing with real numbers. I'm going to put 0 in there, and we see that our largest number goes to 5, so I'm going to go all the way out to 5. My smallest number is negative 5.1, so I'm going to go to negative 5, and then I'm going to graph my numbers on here. When it says to graph, I have to put a dot there, so here's 5. Negative 2.3 needs to be labeled. Negative 5.1 needs to be labeled. Because those aren't exactly at a point, I can tell that this one down here is exactly at 5. But once I'm in between my two tick marks, my two integers, I need to label that exact decimal. My next number to graph is 0, and then I have negative 2.1. I need to write those in order, in increasing order, so that means I start to the left, and I increase to the right. That's it. Well, now what we have here is we've got fractions and we have some radicals. And so what we might need to do is take a look at some of those decimal equivalents of those. So we have 7/2, which is 3.5. We have square root of 3, which is 1.7. Negative 1/3, which is negative 0.33. These are repeating decimals, so like even here we might put negative 7.3, just to go out a couple of decimal places. Negative 3/8, we just do negative 3 divided by 8, and we get negative negative 0.375. And negative square root of 2, and we get negative 1.41. So our smallest number is this negative 1.4. Our largest number is 3.5. So we're going to start with 0, and we're going to go all the way out to 3, and then we have to go to negative 1.4. So we're going to have negative 1, negative 2. So now we need to graph these. This is where 3.5 would be, but I'm going to label it as 7/2. That was the original number we had. Negative 1.73 is going to be close to negative 2, but I'm going to write, this is positive. Positive 1.73. So close to positive 2, but we're not going to write the 1.73, we're going to write the root 3. Negative 1/3 is between 0 and 1, negative 1. Negative 3/8 is a little bit smaller, so it's going to be to the left. So we have negative 3/8. And then we have negative square root of 2, which is negative 1.4, so close to that negative 1/2, but we call that negative square root of 2. So the nice thing about this is we have the decimal equivalents to place them on the number line. What we have now are the actual exact values written on our number line. So make sure you're using those exact values, so that when I go to write them in order, I have negative square root of 2, negative 3/8, negative 1/3, square root of 3, and 7/2. All right, now what we're going to do is select and perform an operation. Notice once again, it is 2 answers. So you're going to select your operation. What is the sum of 5 and negative 18? Sum is addition, so the operation is adding. And if you want to do mental math, grab your calculator, but 5 plus a negative 18 is negative 13. Number 4, what is the quotient? Quotient is division. So I know I need to divide negative 24 and 1/3. Those of you that are grabbing your calculators, unless your calculator will let you actually input a fraction as a numerator and denominator, you're going to have to use parentheses. So if you're using the division sign on your calculator, you have to type it in with parentheses. So on our calculator, what we're going to type in is negative 24 divided by 1 divided by 3. And so when we do that, when we take negative 24 divided by a negative 1/3 is 72. All right, so that's what that portion is going to look like. I think we've got one more page of examples in my slideshow, so let's see what's going on. We need to give the answer with the appropriate unit of measures. So we need to look at what our operation is. We're subtracting, and then we need to figure out what the units of measure are. We have 7 3/4 of a meter minus 2 1/3 meters. Because they're both in meters, we know that we can subtract them, and our answer is going to be in meters. What we need to do is we need to subtract these. So we have to figure out how to subtract them. Once again, we'll spend some time in class tomorrow looking at how we can use our calculators and the different calculators we have. But we're taking 7 3/4, which means we're taking 7 plus 3/4, and we're subtracting 2 1/3. This is how we need to put in our mixed numbers. And I'm hoping most of you recognize this from freshman year, that's how our mixed numbers are going to go in. Now, some of you may look at that and go, oh, I have a better way of doing that. Great. We'll share that on Monday. We'll have problems like this that you can test your calculator on. But this is exactly what I'm going to type into my calculator. I'm going to type parentheses 7 plus 3/4. That's 7 3/4. And I'm going to minus parentheses 2 plus 1/3. That's 2 1/3. And we're going to get a decimal answer for that. We're going to have 5 meters. I need to change the decimal into a fraction. So my calculator was 5.4166666. I need to change that decimal part, 0.416666, into a decimal. So you're going to type in 0.416666, math, turn it into a fraction, and we have 5 5/12 meters, okay? So if you're not able to get your calculator to do that, ladies and gentlemen, what you need to do is put a big question mark here, and we'll make sure we do some calculator skills the next time in class. All right, number 6, we're multiplying a bunch of fractions. And if you think about fractions, anything that was the same in the numerator and denominator, we could cancel in multiplication. And so what that means is I not only have 66 up here, but I have 66 feet. So those feet, all these units can cancel because there's one in the numerator and one in the denominator. I have 1 second in my denominator, and I've got 3,600 seconds in my numerator, so those can cancel. But notice I only have miles in my numerator, so it has to stay, it can't cancel, and I only have hours in my denominator. So that means I have to have hours there. Then what we're going to do is we're going to go through and do all this multiplication. 66 times 360 times 1. I'm sorry, not 360, 3,600. So type in 66 times 3,600 times 1, and that's going to give you your numerator. So we're going to take 66 times 3,600 times 1, and that gives me 237,600 miles. We then have in our denominator 1 times 5,280. So hopefully we're not even using our calculator for that. We get 5,280. Hopefully that simplifies. So I'm going to take 237,600 and divide it by 5,280. That divides out evenly. We get 45. And what this mile over hour means is it means 45 miles per hour. What you actually calculated from all of that is speed. So this comes from, if I have 66 feet in 1 second, and I know there's 3,600 seconds in an hour, and 1 mile makes up 5,280 feet, that together, all of those components will give me a speed of 45 miles per hour. All right, we will see you guys tomorrow. Hope you enjoyed your first lesson.